he was talking about, he was describing a full range of Kundalini up to the upper chakras. He go on, he'll say that. But you can bring meditation up to the solar plexus center, the heart center, you know, or the throat or whatever. It's still meditation. It's if you can only bring it probably to the heart center, then you are an adept. You know, if you only bring it to the throat center, you're an adept. You bring it to the Christ center, you're a master. Well, you can be a master if you bring it to the throat center as well, a number of times. But you can gain enlightenment way before that. You can gain enlightenment from contemplation. You know, and he said the attributes of enlightenment is predetermining your actions. You know, which any one of us can do that now.
So one has the ability to contemplate on a situation, an object, and predetermine an action towards it. That's enlightenment.
Yeah, that builds towards enlightenment, because what happened is that if you predetermine all your actions, then you burn up the samskaras, the negative samskaras that we talked about. Right? Everybody understand that? So you cancel out all the drama in your life, in other words. You know, so therefore you won't lead yourself into situations that you cannot handle and you cannot deal with. You know, you cut out all the waste by predetermining your actions. And predetermining your actions means also predetermining your mental your mental thoughts as well, you know. And then all actions, you don't take on tasks that's not going to yield any real results to anything. And you don't want to take on tasks that's going to yield negative results. You want to take on tasks that's going to yield positive results.
An efficient use of energy? An efficient use of energy?
Yeah. And then you'll find yourself staying within the laws of karma by doing that. And then you'll find that your aura will begin to change, your mental body will begin to change, you know, everything begins to change around you. And then even the people around you, they won't feel comfortable coming around you with foolishness. You know, they'll kind of stay away from you. You know, so that's the thing that he's talking about.
Is it possible for people to, like other lower people, to get hostile towards a person like that?
They can get hostile. Anyone can get hostile against anyone, but will they move forward in manifesting that all the way? If you live in the right life and projecting the right energy, you know, it'll be very hard for them to come around you with that. You know, because they won't feel comfortable, or you'll have the ability to help diffuse whatever they're going through. You know, so that's the big difference.
When Dr. King said that the Ninth Freedom said this is law, and that if it wasn't law before, it was made law now. What does he mean by that?
In other words, that we brought that law into action for ourselves.
Okay.
You understand? In other words, if you continue to do something stupid, right, that no one else did on earth, but you get the brilliant idea to do it, right? So now, you have brought into manifestation a part of the law that wasn't necessary to be used or utilized here on this earth. So now, because of your actions, you know, the law is manifesting a part of itself that never was manifested here on earth before.
For example,
Although the law was always in existence, but it has to be manifested here now because of your actions.
does that come?
In the sense of the 9 freedoms, bravery, love, service wasn't necessarily always the track to enlightenment, but because of our karma
Yeah,
now it is now.
It was, but it's more prevalent now than what it was before. I showed you that the last couple classes.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, I've been telling you that for months now. You go back to the classes I did on Dharma, I talked about it. You go back to any one of my classes, I showed you where these laws are in existence. It's the way that Mars Sector 6 and Dr. King package it to tell us that makes it much more clear. You don't have to wade through Sanskrit terminology. It's right here, it's clear.
So would an example be like saying we're not allowed to, or we cannot go out into the mountains and seclude ourselves anymore, but we have to work among the people in service? Is that an example of the shifting the law from?
Yeah.
Because of our karma, that shift has been made.
Because of our karma, yeah. And because of what we built for ourselves. See? It's the same way, if you look in man's-made laws, a bad example, but some of the crimes that the Marlins did have brought about new laws, it forced the government to bring in laws or to enforce laws that was in the back of the book that wasn't being enforced. Everybody knew it was wrong, but they made it, they made it come to the forefront to be used. It's the same thing with corporations too. Someone inside corporations start stealing or doing a particular procedure wrong or not. It's just like a good example, the airline, the traffic control people. Leaving one person
To handle all those planes.
to handle all the planes coming in. You can't do that. You need to have 2 or 3 people there so that late at night someone gets sleepy, they can take a nap while the other person is covered. So it just, they did that all the time, and they was aware of that, but budget restraints caused them to become slack.
Mm-hmm.
Their own actions caused them to become slack. So the law is there. The law is perfect. The law is a framework. The law is there, but certain parts of the law does not affect us because of our stage of evolution. But as we move through evolution, the law is revealed to us more and more and more, and it affects us more and more.
So in a sense, it's a positive thing that these laws by Mars Sector 6 were revealed. Is that a sign of our advancement or a sign of our involution?
It's a sign of the times in the sense that the pressures are there that we have to move forward.
Mm-hmm.
And he's here to tell us, move forward or leave.
So in regards to, like Dr. Kim was saying, stealing, that a person who, if you have, like saying, if you're operating from bravery, you can't steal. If you operate from love, you can't steal, whatever. But take like the Robin Hood example, someone who would take from the rich or the manipulators and give to those who have not. Or refusing to pay your taxes, knowing most of the taxes is going towards sponsoring weapons and war, things like that. How does that relate to, it's not, okay, it's still technically stealing because you're taking or you're not participating in something, but at the same time you're refusing to participate in something you know is wrong. So how does that, I guess, work out? You see what I'm asking?
mean? As far as paying taxes?
Yeah, like things like that. If I don't want to, if I refuse to have my money going towards something I disagree with, then I will not pay my taxes, but I'm still, at least in the eyes of the state, stealing. Is that different from what Dr. King's talking about?
Yeah, but you have 30 million people that's starving. in this country.
Mhm.
You probably have another, 300 million to 500 million in foreign countries that need our aid. So you're going to take one little thing because they building weapons and not participate in feeding and taking care of all those people. What about all the $100 million they gave to the AIDS victims in Africa? What about the Peace Corps? What about all the good things that they're doing? So you're gonna take upon yourself not to pay the taxes because they building weapons. A lot of weapons they will never use. But that food, that water, that medicine is gonna go to millions and millions of people. So I would want the karma of feeding those millions of people and giving them aid, medicine, education. I would want that karma, and I deal with them building the weapons. I mean, you have to be, wise enough to realize what good is coming out of it.
And then again, you got to also remember the time. Because on the day when say Robin Hood was stealing from the rich to give it to the poor, Common might have demanded that be done. See, back in those days, they didn't have the weapons that could kill out hundreds of thousands of people at one time. So you got to look on the times that you're dealing into.
And the tyranny that was going on.
Yeah.
But I mean, Robin Hood today, could that be? Is that correct? I don't know. It may not be correct. At least not in the United States.
That's what I'm talking about now.
It might be correct on some island somewhere where conditions exist that Robin Hood is correct.
So it is better to participate in a system that I know is corrupt and wrong?
No.
Well,
what you got to do?
the thing I just gave you your answer. What do you want? Do you want to not be a part of feeding millions of people and giving them medical aid and food and or whether you rather just say I'm not a part of that?
Well, no, because you're not taking into consideration how that dollar is spent. For every tax dollar, if the majority of it is going, if the majority of every tax dollar
It's going to weapons. We know that.
Is negative, then it's either here or there. I mean,
but it's still think about it. Think about the good that it is doing, and think about the control you have over that and the control you don't. Now, if you can bring about a system that can change that, then work towards that. But I would not stop giving hundreds of millions of people, stop helping to help hundreds of millions of people. I wouldn't stop doing that.
No, you can take that same tax dollar and use it to give directly to organizations that do feed people. So
You can, but then you might not be able to do that if you're in jail too. I mean, you could do that. I hate paying taxes. I'm not saying I do. I hate it. It bothers me greatly to pay taxes. But I mean, I think that's what Jesus was saying when he said, "Render unto Caesar what is Caesar's." Because there are some good coming from this evil empire. So those are things you have to balance inside your head. It's like I told you, if you want to create this utopian society, then work towards it. And don't think in a way that that you're not gonna have enough time in this lifetime to do it. That's not correct. Because whatever you start now, you can finish. If you don't finish in this life, you'll finish it in the next life. Things will work out. If you put enough energy behind that, you will be able to finish it. Even if it takes you 10 lives to do it, you'll do it. So that's the beauty of knowing that this life is only one classroom, and you can come back here many, many times in the same position to finish your work. So.
How about small things that most people find like nonsense? For example, it's midnight, you're on an empty road, there's a red light. Do you take the red light to nobody, or do you wait for the green light? You're not harming nobody. Like in little senses like that, does that make a difference?
It depends on you. You know, it depends on you. It depends on the situation. You know, I mean,
Wait 2 minutes.
I remember when the cops were stopping people, beating the hell out of them, right? So I'm down the dog road driving, cops come by and want to pull me in the woods. I'm way out, on Camel Drive Road before they built anything. It's dark, there were no lights. Right? I'm way out there near the old Tennessee Road. And he flashes lights, and I just turned my hazard lights on and broke my speed down to about 30 and cruised on into the city. And he went, when I finally pulled over, he said he was furious.
Yeah.
And I told him, I said, do you think I'm gonna stop out there and let you beat the hell out of me? I'm not gonna do it. I say, now all these people can see me now.
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
So give me my ticket and let me move on my way. So I mean, I think the law was with me. So I don't, you gotta have some common sense about some things. And like I say, what's good for one nation could be totally wrong for another nation. So it depends. The law is not etched in stone for all men, based, saying it's concrete, because it's fair. It's fair. It depends on the situation you're in.
There's a part in Dr. King's commentary on Enlightenment where he says, the way we live our present life is, to the greatest extent, the result of ignorance, which is the one and only sin. If Satan could have another name, then surely it must be ignorance. Is that the same thing that Jesus meant when he says blasphemy of the Holy Spirit is the only unpardonable sin?
The what?
Blasphemy of the Holy Spirit?
Blasphemy of the Holy Spirit is the what?
The only unpardonable sin? Is it?
It probably could, yeah. Because ignorance is the thing that have put us in all the predicaments we're in.
It's ignorance of the divine law of the Holy Spirit within ourselves.
Yeah. So when you come to grips with with the law, then it will mold and change your actions.
A question about the person that's executed. He said that person turns around and finds a pawn. Did he mean that person could easily find another pawn to continue?
Of course.
Or that person becomes a pawn on the other side?
Let me tell you something. I've seen murderers, and they are, and it's an ugly sight to see them psychically. And most of them are being enchanted by someone else.
It doesn't take much for that murder to enchant someone who's still alive.
It's a lot of negative energy around us. They
Let
feed off of negative energy.
me tell you,
So they don't have to be a really powerful person psychically to be able to
No, because
lift another pawn.
they out of the physical body now.
then once you allow your mind to go down a negative road, you attract those spirits around you, and you could be enchanted by more than one person.
Yep. So I mean, they don't necessarily eat food; they eat negative energy. So they live off of this negative energy. So they can get busy right away doing what they love doing. If they love killing and whatever, then they go and possess someone else, to do their killing. They may have 4 or 5 people doing their killing, and then all of a sudden you have a serial killer. Same thing with a rapist. So they are, a lot of them are possessed. And that's a problem with that type of punishment.
So some of the claims of possession really are true though.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. most of them cannot be detected unless you have someone who really know what they're doing.
Or do you mean their presence in the?
Yeah, because the person just as normal, act just as normal as ever.
You know, it's a lot of that deal on those programs on TV now. You got a lot of the where they have a program where they show what the psychic see, and there's a lot of them on TV telling you about. But one thing I know that on most of the ones that I have seen, they don't tell you how to protect yourself from that type of possession.
Yeah, what you saying?
On the path to enlightenment,
Mm-hmm.
to get to enlightenment, you must burn up, your samskaras and also the vrittis that are in your lower
Mm-hmm.
chakra, right? But on the left-hand path, when you raise Kundalini by the front, what happens? You're raising Kundalini, but not burning up none of that. That doesn't get burned when you raise Kundalini.
Why you want to know?
Well, I don't want to know. Dr. George King said, you got to understand both sides. So
They feed off of that. They
feed off of that energy in the vritti.
Yeah.
It actually makes it easier to ride
Yeah.
to the front, which forces people to be more negative,
Mm-hmm.
facilitate the ride.
Yeah, they feed off of that. So, they want that ignorance. They want that negative energy.
On themselves.
Yeah. So that they can build their empire.
In the Bible where it says, "Be still and know that you are God," is that stillness that's talking about the samadhi?
Yeah. They stole that. That's an Eastern saying. Way back, I've seen the Vedas, they came from them. Thousands of years before the Bible was all about.
And when Dr. King was saying, do the samyama, or samyama on all things good and bad, and then there's another lecture I was listening to where he said that we should coldly, without emotion, study the left-hand path of black magic so that we understand it. How do you go about, what happens when you do a samyama on something that's bad? Doesn't that become a part of you? Or when you start studying the dark arts? How do you study that coldly? How do you study something like that coldly without?
You'll know one day, but it depends on how you do it.
And then again,
It's a level, you have to go into a contemplative state, and you would dissect that. And you will see the energy formation of it and how it all came about, and and then if you didn't get everything you want, then you might take on a certain condition and then get rid of it, but you don't necessarily have to do that.
So like he said, he would do certain things to get the experience of it, like he would go through that psychic frustration to know what it felt like, or
Or give himself cancer and then release the cancer.
so isn't that very dangerous?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have to wait till you're at an adept level or at a master level before you can start experimenting in that level?
Yeah, I would say so.
yeah, but I'm gonna tell you like this. In fact, the master said, once one person has done it, and many masters have probably done it already. I know from my own experience that Dr. King was one of the masters. So once they had done it, you have to go through that.
Yeah.
Just learn from what they teach you.
Yeah, it's more than one. It's many ways to learn. I mean,
Yeah.
you can learn from the experience of someone else, or you can try to experience it yourself.
Can you do a samyama, let's say, like on these tapes, for example, and
Yeah.
receive the information a lot?
Yeah, and hear what's not said.
Mm-hmm.
Really?
Yeah.
You can put it underneath your pillow too.
That's a part of
yeah.
that's a part of contemplation. Samyama is a part of contemplation. You have levels of samyama that's meditation too, but But the beginning, the samyama, is a contemplative state.
So I can like walk through Barnes and Noble and just samyama all the books and.
You don't want to do that.
Yeah,
You
but
don't
you're
want to do that. You want to take time just to do a samyama on things that matter. Remember, predetermine your actions, because some books you touch, you don't want to touch them psychically, you know, because there's a lot of crazy stuff in there, you know, because you link yourself with the writer and all the people that was connected to the writer, and you begin to see that and feel it, and so you don't want to do that. So, you know, those are things you gotta stay away from.
So what about in teaching? Like say if I had a group of students and I've been teaching them for about 10, 15 years or so, but I would say later on, maybe if they're at the high school, maybe I was teaching them from when they're in elementary school and middle school, maybe if they're at the high school level, would I be able, or would it be wise to teach them, okay, these are what the dark arts are, but don't use it, but just to study it and to understand it?
To teach them that?
Yeah.
No, you don't need to do that.
They will be able to.
You could tell them how to keep away from it. You could tell them a lot of stuff about it, but to teach them that they have to go and take that on their own. They can come back with questions. But I wouldn't do it myself.
Because if they screw up.
And I know the black arts. I have studied it. And I used it at one time in my life. So I wouldn't do it. But I only did it so I can teach on it. And I can tell people what not to do. So no, you know, I would tell you don't do that.
Now, is the karma different in that sense where, okay, you used a black art just to gain the experience of it so you can teach others what not to do, as opposed to using it for personal gain? Is the karma different in that sense?
No, he still has to account for his use of it.
I have to account for that. Come on, you know. You have to account for it. Yeah, I mean, comically, you have to account for all your actions. Not that I did something really terrible, you know,
Right.
but you know, when I was much younger, I was very curious. So I went into the black arts heaven.
Did you see any Santeria rituals?
Yeah, I mean, that's basic though.
Yeah.
I mean, I conjured up spirits and made them do what I wanted them to do. So just to see what it is, I went to the lower hells. So it's very, very dangerous. That's why I would tell someone don't do it. And then I spent a couple of years fighting to get away from it. So, but it's very, very, I would tell people to stay away from it.
So what's the difference between going to the lower hells for kind of like a field trip and or going to, or like the initiation where you have to go and you're taken down there to heal someone? Like you're still going, but I guess the intention is different.
The intention, yeah.
But is the karma for it differently as well? Like if I'm going to heal or just going to explore?
Well, if you're going to heal, that's good. That's positive karma.
If I'm going just to see what's there, if that is real, is that?
It depends on your intention.
And also
On what you're trying to do.
It also depends on your karma too, because like you say, just going to see, you could be going down to someone else to see you.
They could be, someone could do somebody porn so they could get you down there to use you.
And all the while you think it's just your own curiosity.
Yeah.
But really, they've been leading you, they've been spending years trying to get you
To
there.
get you going.
Yeah.
Let me ask you something. When you create a shade of yourself, do you always have to pull that shade back in? Or can you have it dissipate on its own?
No, you're supposed to.
You have to always put it back in?
Yeah, all energy you create and push out, you need to bring back in.
So could you use a shade to put the disease on and see what it does to that, as opposed to like
Yeah.
study your, directly on your own
Yeah,
On your
you have
focus
to,
itself?
yeah, you could do that, but you have to purify it.
Before
You
you,
burn that up, yeah,
Before you take it back in.
yeah.
How come he didn't go into, oh, he might later on in the lecture, but in the book, he goes into psychic frustration and how it can manifest as sexual frustration.
He went into that. He played that part. He went into it.
He did?
I didn't
Yeah,
know
he's
that.
gonna go into a little bit more. The whole tape is 90 minutes.
Wait a minute.
It's an hour.
You must be paying attention.
He
He
said
went
it.
into it, but the whole tape is like an hour and a
90
half.
minutes.
You know,
But you played that part now, like he said.
he
something.
played a part. I played it.
He's the beginning of it.
He talked about of psychic frustration, but did he link it to? I didn't hear him
It
link it
leads
to
to that.
Link it to what?
sexuality, sexual energy.
Well, that's a part of psychic frustration.
But I didn't hear him mention anything about that.
No, not yet.
Okay.
But he talks about it later on in the lecture. You know, I mean, that's psychic frustration leads to sexual
Frustration.
sexual frustration and all type of sexual promiscuity.
Because it's the same energy.
Hmm?
It's the same.
It's a way a person
releases this.
releases it.
The psychic energy.
They go crazy sexually. Because a buildup of psychic energy in the body gives you a huge sexual craving. You know, so then you find yourself acting out in a sexual way.
But with
So-
so you're
so
doing
you
the
have to
12
be balanced.
blessings and healing, and you're constantly pushing that psychic energy out. Will that cause a diminishment of your sexual drive, or you just won't?
No, when you let's say you doing this healing and you're doing the prayer, right? Then you get a buildup of sexual energy in your aura. Not the sexual energy, but psychic energy. But psychic energy manifests itself as sexual energy too. Okay? So turn that off if I could talk.